Welcome to another segment of ACRP TV. Our spotlight today is on the impact of precision medicine in clinical trial development. And our special guest is Dr. Kevin Flaherty, who's a professor of medicine at the University of Michigan and has been very active in some trials we're going to talk about right now. Dr. Flaherty, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Let me ask you first to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk about the scope of the trial you're involved in right now.
Yeah, so I'm a pulmonologist. I practice at the University of Michigan, where I'm a professor of medicine, and I direct the interstitial lung disease program there. I'm also fortunate to be the steering committee chair of the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation Registry and Care Center Network, which is a partner in this NIH-funded Precision's trial.
So let's talk about that trial and the scope. I know you've recently enrolled your first patient. Precision medicine has been a component of it, or a potential component of it. So let's just nitty gritty first. Let's talk about how many patients you're hoping to get and the goal of this trial.
Yeah, so the goal of this trial is to study 200 patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis and to see if a pharmacologic intervention called N-acetylcysteine can actually impact the disease course, slow down the progression of disease. The precision aspects of this trial are unique. If you look at prior trials of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, for the most part, we've enrolled everyone with a diagnosis of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis that may fit within certain pulmonary function criteria or perhaps time since diagnosis. What's unique in this study is that looking back at post hoc data from other trials, we found that TALP, which is an immunoregulatory gene that has 3 common polymorphisms, that there's one of those polymorphisms that's present in about 25% of patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. And in those patients, they seem to benefit in terms of therapy with N-acetylcysteine, whereas the other polymorphisms either did not benefit or NAC may have actually been harmful. So the precision aspect of the study is actually to enroll patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, but the precision aspect is that we're only looking for those patients, about 25% of IPF patients that have a specific TALP genotype.
Broadly speaking, and I know you're your early days for your trial, but do you see precision medicine having a greater role in clinical trial development in the future?
I think we certainly hope so. This is really the first foray in using a precision type approach to study a subset of patients with IPF. We clinically, and I think, even scientifically, think of IPF as a heterogeneous disease. It seems to behave differently in different patients, although we've not had a real lot of success in figuring out how to predict that. So if this trial works and shows that, yes, by looking at a specific genotype, a precise population of IPF patients, and can study those, that would be a novel way to approach things potentially in the future.
Now, finally, I have to ask, I know you've just enrolled your first patient. You mentioned you're hoping for 200. Has COVID been an obstacle as you've been putting this together?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a huge obstacle. Fortunately, we are moving forward, and that's really a credit to the investigators at the sites and just the whole investigative team. But from aspects of the study medication, which is N-acetylcysteine, is actually manufactured in Milan, Italy. And as you recall, that was one of the epicenters of the COVID pandemic and was shut down for a period of time. So we had delays in terms of being able to get study medication available for subjects. And then you can also imagine at the site level, just everything going on at the clinical sites in terms of people having to work remotely, clinical trials being put on hold potentially for safety, and not bringing people into hospitals where there may be exposure to COVID. So we definitely have had some hurdles to overcome. It really is a credit to everyone that's involved in the study, is that even with this pandemic, even with study drug delays, site delays for initiation because of the pandemic, we were able to enroll the first subject only 3 months after our target date initially. So hopefully we can move forward, and keep accruing rapidly and get this trial enrolled and find an answer and see if this medication may work in this precise group of patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis.
Excellent. I want to thank you for joining us. Sounds like you all have really risen to the occasion here. This has been our ACRP TV spotlight on the impact of precision medicine in clinical trial development. We've been speaking with Dr. Kevin Flaherty, who's a professor of medicine at the University of Michigan. Dr. Flaherty, I want to thank you for joining us today. We want to check in with you again, maybe a few months down the road or maybe a year from now, and see how you guys are doing. But thank you again for joining us today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, and certainly be happy to talk to you again in the future and let you know how things are going. And just appreciate your interest, and thank everybody for attending. Have a great day.